It's a dull morning on Monday, June the 14th for the first TT of 1965, the 3-lap, 113-mile sidecar race. It's the 12th post-war Sidecar TT, and as the first of the 44 starters get away, it's obvious that it's going to be a BMW benefit. For although there are 5 makes of machine and a few specials, all the likely winners are BMW mounted, including 4 times world champion Max Deubel, who holds the race and lap records at 89.1 and 90.7 miles an hour, Fritz Scheidegger, Florian Camathius, Chris Vincent and Colin Seeley. And here already at Balaf Bridge, 16 miles out, are the BMWs of Camathius and Scheidegger. And right behind them, it's the BMWs of Deubel, Auerbacher and Harris. Seven and a half miles on at Ramsey, Camathius has retired. But 2 more BMWs are coming into the picture as first Heinz Luthringhauser and then Colin Seeley roar through Parliament Square. Lap 1 completed, and Scheidegger leads Deubel by a mere 3 seconds at 88.9, with Auerbacher 3rd, Luthringhauser 4th, Seeley 5th, and Terry Vinicum on his BSA twin, the leading British bike, 6th. Here's Vinicum at Signpost Corner, leading 8th place man Dave Ajax's Norton. On lap 2, Deubel rockets round with a new lap record at 91.1 to take the lead from Scheidegger by 3 seconds, and out of the race goes Seeley. So that means that Norman Huntingford's Matchless here's in 8th place. And going well in 9th position is Toombs Triumph. Third and last lap. Scheidegger blasts his BMW round Quarterbridge first. Next, it's Deubel, who's increased his lead to 4 seconds. At Ramsey, 1962 winner Chris Vincent, who stopped 3 times on the first lap, is up to 5th place as he rounds the hairpin. Then it's Freeman's Norton, now the leading British machine, in 6th place. And now the leaders are due at the grandstand.
And I can see Scheidegger's machine. I can see the flash of orange as Scheidegger crouched down behind the wing
So Deubel wins his third TT by 14 seconds, with a new race record of 90.6 and another lap record at 91.8. 4 days after the sidecar race, there's Friday's senior TT. And the main question is whether Mike Hailwood, who won on an MV in 1963 and 64, can do the hat-trick. It might seem to be a foregone conclusion, but against him, there's not only his teammate, the brilliant Giacomo Agostini, but 62 of the world's finest riders on single-cylinder Nortons and matchlesses, amongst whom is Joe Dunphy. And how did Joe's Francis Beard Norton go in practice?
It's done all we wanted to do in practice, so keep our fingers crossed for the race.
And how does the bike that you've got this year compare with your 63 bike?
It's definitely faster. Putting a higher cog and we're getting more revs.
And what was the fastest lap you did?
95, I believe.
Joe, what sort of a race are you planning? What do you hope ideally will happen?
Well, I hope to lap at 100 mile an hour and finish in the first 6.
In his first TT, Wednesday's junior race, newcomer Agostini consistently lapped at over 99 on the new MV3. So today he should easily beat all the private owners. Jack Ahern thinks so anyway.
Personally, I don't think we'll see Agostini. I think he knows enough about it now to be in front of the private Nortons and things. But I'll plug for first private as usual, or first Norton. Got to beat Paddy Driver anyway.
You don't stand a chance, Jack.
And that was ever cheerful Paddy Driver, who stands a very good chance of finishing well up himself on his 5-speed Tom Kirby matchless. Now, what about the 37 3/4 mile TT course? Mike Hailwood thinks that, if anything, it's slower than last year.
Oh yes, they've removed a house from the other side of Belough Bridge. It hasn't done anything. You can't go over it any quicker.
Any deterioration anywhere?
Yes, going up Craig Willis Hill and Cronky Straight, very, very bumpy, much bumpier than it was last year, and it's getting worse every year. I don't know what they're going to have to. They're going to have to resurface it or something, I think.
It looks like a fairly easy ride for you, but would you agree with that?
I'm afraid to have to say it, but yeah, providing I don't fall off or do something silly, I'm afraid to say it looks like it, yeah.
Well, we'll soon know. But it's significant that in its 42 years of history, only one man, John Surtees, has beaten the superstition that the senior TT cannot be won by the same man 3 years running. As the 67 starters get away, it's dry at the grandstand, but there's heavy rain at Belough and Ramsey. And before half the field's away, there's rain on the Glencrutchery Road too. But it's dry at Ballacrane when Dunphy's Norton, Woodman's Matchless and Hailwood's MV arrive almost together. And now here's Agostini's MV. Hailwood's wasting no time. He's leading on the road at Selby, 5 seconds ahead of Woodman's Matchless. Then it's Dunphy, just ahead of Agostini. Here's Mike completing lap 1 at 95 miles an hour and giving a big thumbs down for the weather's foul. Agostini's past Dunphy and he's almost caught Woodman's Matchless. Hailwood leads, then Agostini, a brilliant second in his first senior TT. Woodman third, 24 seconds ahead of Dunphy, and then the Nortons of Griff Jenkins and John Cooper. And at Ballacrane, Agostini's got ahead of Woodman. In appalling weather, rain and sleet, John Cooper's come off on the mountain, and at Craig Willie's Hill, the section Hailwood was criticising, Agostini's fallen off and he's out of the race. So, on lap 3, Hailwood leads Woodman by over 2 minutes as he approaches Braddon Bridge. Joe Dunphy's speeded up though, and at Braddon he's almost caught Woodman. On lap 3 at Balig Bridge, Griff Jenkins is fourth on his Steve Lansfield Norton. But Jenkins has to retire, and that brings Mike Duff's Matchless up to fourth place. The weather's even worse now, and Hailwood's long overdue at Ramsey. But here he is. And what a sensation for Mike, like Agostini's, come off at Craig Willie's. And it's a very battered MV he's riding now. Smashed windscreen, bent handlebars, no left footrest and flattened megaphones. Surely he can't go on like this. Now he's due at the pits, and he'll be stopping for more than petrol.
It's Hailwood, here he is, what's going to happen? He's coming into the pit, get the glasses on him and see what the machine trouble is. Fix the throttle. He's shouting across to, I guess, maybe his father, Stan Hailwood, who is behind the pit, something to him. The petrol filler is in some time ago. The MV mechanic is giving a quick check over the machine, looking first at the right, then at the left. Mike closes the filler cap, bangs it shut. The goggles go across, and he's going to change his goggles. And meantime, Derek Woodman is well round signpost corner. He's going, he looks to me, yes, he's up into first gear.
Just imagine Hailwood's feelings now. Shaken after a nasty crash, he's got no windscreen. His MV's bound to be handling badly, and he'll be a very worried man. And as Hailwood approaches Quarter Bridge, Woodman and Dunphy in second and third places set off after their pit stops. Michael on lap 4, Duff and driver are together, battling for 4th place on their matchlesses. Gallant Mike Hailwood's riding the race of his life and treating his MV as though nothing had happened. Just listen to it as Mike takes Hilbury on lap 4. As Paddy Driver roars round Hilbury in 5th place on his matchless, the order on lap 4 is Hailwood leading Woodman by nearly 2 minutes at 91.5, with Dunphy 3rd, only 10 seconds behind Woodman, Duff 4th, and Selwyn Griffiths 6th on his matchless. An MV, a Norton, and 4 matchlesses on the leaderboard. Way down in 16th place, but going well on the only BMW in the race, Hans Otto Butenuth starts his 5th lap. On lap 5 at Stella Maris, Hailwood's MV sounds most peculiar. Behind Mike, 2nd and 3rd on the road and on time, Woodman and Dunphy are still together. But suddenly the leaderboard's transformed, for Woodman and driver are out with machine trouble. So Duff's 3rd now, and here at Cronkey are the new 4th, 5th and 6th men. Ian Byrne, Norton, Selwyn Griffiths, matchless, and Billy McCosh, matchless. And now another sensation. Hailwood pit stops again with one of his throttle slides jammed shut. 68 seconds later, off goes Mike with his lead over Dunphy reduced to a minute and one cylinder running flat out all the time. But as it takes Parliament Square Ramsey for the last time with a straggler, Mike's MV sounds in surprisingly good tune. Keeping the MV going by sheer guts and willpower, determined to do the hat-trick and beat the hoodoo, whilst behind him Byrne, McCosh and Griffiths, still together in 4th, 5th and 6th places, take Parliament Square. Back at the grandstand, we wait for Hailwood to win his 7th TT, 4th senior TT and his 3rd senior TT in succession. A wonderful ride, marred only by that crash. But how did it happen, Mike?
I think probably the real trouble was I wasn't concentrating properly, and I sort of wound it up a bit too hard and found myself sliding along the road on my back.
And what then? A quick look round and...
Yeah, I leant the bike up against the bank and kicked the handlebar straight and had a quick check over and fired off straight away, and off I went.
After you'd got going again, what effect in the engine department was from the 3rd lap onwards?
There was no effect at all. It was the engine was still going very smoothly indeed. It wasn't until the fifth lap, halfway down Solby Straight, that the carburetor slide dropped down, and from then on it was going on 3 cylinders until I stopped for the second time. We were going to repair it, then they decided it'd take too long, so they took the slide right out.
And you started again at the end of the fifth, beginning of the sixth lap, and how was the engine running then?
It was going all right when it was full bore, you know, because they were all sort of lined up, all the carburetors. But when you shut it off to go around the corners, the one carburetor that was open could have kept dragging the bike along, and it was quite exciting.
In my opinion, that ride of Mike Hailwood's was one of the greatest in TT history. Everyone expected him to win, and win he did. But no one expected him to have to ride half the race on a crumpled bike after a high-speed crash and 2 very long pit stops. In fact, when you consider that Hailwood also had to cope with weather conditions that at times could hardly have been worse, you realise that he is a very worthy world champion. In fact, the greatest. Mike Hailwood, we all salute you.